Hello and welcome to Magical Travel Adventure. I am here again with Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
And Sarah and I work together at Carry On the Magic together. We are both travel advisors, but Sarah, she's got that West Coast feel down. So,
Yeah.
Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, everybody. My name's Sarah. I am a huge Disneyland addict. So I traded in that hobby for a career. And now I'm a travel advisor and agent. And my favorite trips to book are Disneyland trips because that's where my magical heart began. You know what I mean? And so I was on before talking about my favorite holiday at Disneyland, which was Halloween. I actually got some Oogie Boogie tickets, so I'll be
Oh,
going. It's very
good.
exciting, yes. So I am in the process of actually booking my hotels, which is funny that this comes up. So I'm very excited to use all of my knowledge. I have taken over 500 trips to Disneyland, tried out a lot of these Good Neighbor hotels. So I put together some of my favorites and present for you
Yes.
guys.
So, I am going to share something so you guys can see this beautiful. Here we go.
So when we're looking at Disneyland hotels, we have three that are official Disneyland of hotels, and that's Disneyland Hotel, the Disney Grand Californian Hotel, and Paradise Pier Hotel, which is kind of owned by Disney. It's like franchise, so that one is its own little thing. But because there's only three, and it is very small in terms of the footprint of each hotel, uh, Disneyland relies heavily on their neighborhood hotels. And so they have a category called Good Neighbor Hotels. So when you go to Anaheim, there's hundreds of hotels nearby, but there's about 50 of them that Disney has stamped as a Good Neighbor Hotel. And when you book with these folks, you get discounts on your tickets. They have a ticket guest services booth in the hotel lobby that you can go and get help with your Disneyland tickets, purchase tickets, or kind of like have that service that the non-good neighbor hotels aren't going to have all those kind of things. So these are ones that Disney say they're on brand for us. Maybe it's not us specifically, but we're okay with these guys. They're clean, they're reliable. So that's what a good neighbor hotel, when you're looking at good neighbor hotels, that's the difference between some of the other Anaheim ones that don't have that designation, which definitely stick with the Good Neighbor Hotel. If you've ever been to Southern California or you're familiar with it, it can be a little dicey. So you definitely like that stamp of approval. So when we're looking at sorry, I have a notification. When we're looking at these different hotels, when you look at the Clarion, I love this guy. He's the best value, and that's usually the one I refer to most because they have great customer service. They're spectacular at taking your luggage and having earlier check-in times than some of the other folks, but it is going to be one of the cheaper ones that you're going to find. So if that's what you're looking at, you want the best value, then definitely the Clarion. And in this group of hotels, I'm pointing at the screen, my gosh, I've never been live before. Sorry, new here.
Just now we're
Um,
here.
I'm just like, let me point at my phone. So when we have these three hotels that we're looking at here, these are three that are going to be a longer walk from the park. So I have a little nifty map. I wonder if Lauren can pull it up. And when
Mhm.
we're looking at ones that have like the convention center, yes, that's perfect. So this shows us kind of like where Disneyland is here in the middle. And this little purple square is kind of all of DCA, Disney California Adventure, and Disneyland Park. And you can see it's smack dab in the middle of the city. You've got apartments and everything on the sides. So down on the lower part, I put kind of in blue. It's hard to read, guys. Sorry. This is what's called the Toy Story parking lot. So this parking lot is separate from the Mickey and Friends parking lot. It's not that big giant parking structure, but it's like a satellite parking lot. And this has a tram. The tram runs from the Toy Story parking lot all the way to the gate of the Disneyland Hotel. And that gets you, right in. So if you're staying at one of these hotels down here, where I had like a blue walking path kind of denoted, these are those three hotels that I'm talking about now. So Hilton, Clarion, and Hyatt are all over here, and kind of like off to the left is like the convention center. So like in the convention center block, I like to say. So if you want, you can take this little blue walking path and walk all the way over to the Toy Story tram. And there's sometimes security check there, not always. It depends on park days. But you can even bypass the main security check at Disneyland when you get in there if they do it at the tram station first. But you can just take a tram right over. You don't have to walk all the way down there. And you're welcome to do that. They allow Good Neighbor Hotel guests to do that if you're not parked at that lot. That is a common thing to do. So when we go back to the looking at those three that are going to be down there in that block. Excuse me. And so, yeah, like I was saying, we've got the Clarion down there. Excuse me. And she's the cheap one, but she's also very small. And so next to it, I have another map slide. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, this one? Or do you want this or the map?
We'll do this one, and then I have another map where it's kind of like a close-up of these three hotels, and we'll do that one next. The Hilton is also in that little cluster. And the Hilton's real reliable. It's really clean, really bright, really open. I'm a huge caffeine addict. So having that Starbucks in the lobby is phenomenal. Phenomenal. If you get yourself up to a certain points in the Hilton Honors Club, you can like even bypass the line in the Starbucks because that gets really healthy in the morning. And just do your mobile order, go grab your coffee, and walking over to Toy Story tram is a lot less painful with that in your hand if that's who you are, and that's important to you. And they also have, I love there is digital check-in. So something I like to do is fly into Disneyland the same day. Hop on the plane. It's a 2-hour flight for me up here in Oregon. So say we land and we get in at like 9 o'clock. I just like to go to the hotel, chuck my luggage at them, and go to the parks, get to the park as soon as possible. So for any of these Good Neighbor hotels, they will hold your luggage when you arrive. And then on your last park day, they'll actually hold your luggage for you as well. So say you're checking out, but you want to go have a park day, they'll hold your luggage for you. So you can still enjoy the parks without having to haul all that over there, because you're not going to get through security with carry-on bags. So that's like the biggest I've tried once, because they do have lockers in the Esplanade that will fit a carry-on, but the security does not want to go through it. So you do have to drop it off at your hotel. So I do know that all of those, how to get into Disneyland as fast as possible. So that guy I love because he has digital check-in. So you checked your bags with, bag check at the front in the lobby. And now while you're in the park, just from your phone, you'll get your room key, you'll get your check-in information, and all that's great because you don't have to go and return back and waste, precious Disneyland hours trying to check into the hotel. So I love that guy. If I'm not trying to be budget minded, and I'm between the Clarion and the Hilton, those are usually my two faves. The Hyatt House is directly across the street from these properties, not to be confused with the Hyatt that is directly next door to the convention center. This is Hyatt Place. Yeah, they make it really easy when we get into the Best Westerns. Oh, you just wait. So the Hyatt House, what I love about the Hyatt House is it has full kitchenette. So say you're going to stay for a full week, you're going to be there, you have family, they have an extended room and where, you can kind of get like the mini suite. But it's also, they're made for extended living kind of convention stays. So let's say you have a big family, you don't want to spend all your money at food at the park. You can get Amazon or any of those like Vaughn's does a delivery to here at Hyatt House or any of the Good Neighbor hotels. A lot of them will take those grocery deliveries and hold it for you at the lobby. No alcohol, because if it has to be signed for over 21, they will not do that. So as long as your groceries don't have alcohol in it, they will hold it for you. And then they have this giant kitchen. They've got refrigerator, they've got stove. So you can cook your full breakfast, you can get all your groceries, and that's a huge money saver in terms of trying to get food. Also, free breakfast. So you don't even have to cook breakfast if you don't want to. And this breakfast is good because some of these guys have free breakfasts and I would just pass. But the Hyatt House has a beautiful free breakfast, and I just love that guy because when you're there for like the full week, and with a kiddo, right? It's golden to have that kitchen access. So I love that guy for best kitchen. So if you want to go back to like the little map, I think where I
Mhm.
labeled where all these are, um, let's see,
Oops.
you can see, yeah, there's one further up.
Nope. This one.
Yeah, that guy. So if we zoom in a little bit, you can see there's Hyatt is just right across the street, and it actually butts up against to that Toy Story parking lot. So it's just a bunch of parked cars. It's a very quiet place because some of the other guys, when you're close to the street, there is a lot of street noise in Southern California. Those um, roads stay quite busy. When we look at Disneyland Park, if you want to go back to like the first one that I had of like the main
Mhm.
map, Disneyland proper, as you saw, was kind of like in the middle there. And down at the bottom, where we were just talking about these hotels in that convention block, that's Catella runs horizontally. So Catella is going to run, yeah, right there. And then vertically, we've got Harbor. So Harbor Boulevard is kind of where Disneyland's address is. So a lot of the hotels on Harbor or Catella are going to be good. You want to kind of avoid the top is Ball, and the traffic and getting in and out of there is so difficult. And the parking structure is kind of up in the upper left hand corner, and you have the freeway off ramp right there. Those hotels are loud, hard to get in and out of. They don't have the same atmosphere. You really don't feel like you're in that bubble. Looking at this map, the city of Anaheim actually made like a mini Disney bubble. Disneyland Resort pays for landscaping, sidewalks, bus shelters, all of these things around this area and around these Good Neighbor hotels. If you venture too far out of that, you're kind of out of that Disney bubble, and it really gets very, very, very urban. So if you're looking to stay in that magical bubble, definitely try to stay in that kind of quadrant and look for Harbor Catella properties if you're not going with some of these suggestions. That's why your agents are really golden, because they know these things and they know the horror stories. Um, so yeah, just looking at these guys, the next set of three are going to be directly across the street from Disneyland. They're going to be right on Harbor, and they are going to be properties that if you don't want to walk, because these other ones that are by the convention center, they're a longer walk. If you were to walk door to door from your hotel to the park, 20 minutes max. But if you're looking for, I want a 5-minute walk to the park, I don't want to go back and forth and deal with that. The Howard Johnson is across the street and far down to the left, is kind of the furthest one away, but it is a huge guest favorite. People really, really love to stay there for like after event parties and things like that because the rooms are beautiful. They've been remodeled. The staff there is phenomenal. And if you have kiddos, they have the best little play adventure area. It's Castaway Cay or Key, and it is kind of got a splash pad. It's got water slides. It's got little water dump area. And now because of COVID, you have to like arrange a time to go there if that is something you're interested in. You're staying there, so if you do want to go, make sure you get that reserved. But they really cater to that off day. When you want to be hanging out at the pool and doing that kind of thing. I love them because on their YouTube channel they have the Matter Cam, which is just a live stream from their roof of Disneyland because you can see the Matterhorn so well. So a lot of those have really great views of the park, views of fireworks sometimes. So if you go to the Matterhorn, you can stand on the sidewalk and wave at yourself, which I like to do. And during the pandemic, a lot of us were just watching the Mattercam and chatting in the group chat and kind of like on the Mattercam. It's fun, but they're that minded where they're just kind of wanting to be a part of the Disney experience. Their Instagram is great. They have like daily takeovers from different content providers. of Disney content. So if you're planning a Disney trip and you want to get a taste for like what's going on, the Howard Johnson's Instagram is pretty fun. Next up is the Best Western Park Place Inn. That's important. There's about 4 Best Westerns on Harbor and Catella. So finding the one is difficult, but this one has the best walk because it is literally right across the street from the park. There's a crosswalk that you walk across of an intersection. You walk up to, bag check and security, and this is the closest hotel you can get to that. If you stay at the Disneyland Hotel, you are going to be further away than if you stay at the Best Western. So it is literally the closest. Always ask for a room close to the lobby because it is a very long hotel. And if you get one of those rooms at the very back of it, it is a little bit of a walk to get to your room. But if you really want that real close, ask for a lobby room. And our last one is Grand Legacy. This has a rooftop bar. So if you're looking to hang out, you want some place that's going to have a place to hang out after the park closes or on those off park days, and maybe you're like having an older adults trip or kind of thing where you want to hang out. This has got a beautiful bar, the Fifth, up on the roof, and they do sometimes do little events for fireworks. I'm not sure because of COVID, but currently they are working on refurbishing their rooms. So some of them are half done, some of them are good, but they are getting that renovation there to kind of, a lot of the rooms in Disneyland Good Neighbor Hotels are kind of outdated. So they're all getting on board to updating that. But one thing to note about Grand Legacy, Howard Johnson, and Best Western, all of these hotels have exterior corridors. So you're going to enter your room from the outside. It's going to be like a big, U shape, and all the parking's in the middle. So you're going to hear parking lot noise. You're going to hear people going to their rooms. It's not as quiet for these guys, but because they're right across the street, you're making that kind of concession. The other 3 that I talked about all have interior hallways. All are kind of like more traditional hotel style. So it is just like a matter of preference. The further you get away, the more it goes away from that motel drive up style and more towards the hotel. So if we look at the map of these guys, they are just right across the street. So this shows you the Hojo is what everybody likes to call the Howard Johnson. The Best Western is just right there, and you can see those 3 like round dots that are like right under the Best Western, and like there's lanes and stuff. That's where like your bag check, it's like bag check and stuff. So you can see like how very close, you just walk right in. And then Grand Legacy as well is just to the right. So I mean, those are all the guys that like you don't want to walk, you don't want to put up with that. My favorite game to play is go to Blue Bayou, eat lunch, walk down to the Main Street station for the train, leave the family, bye, and they all get on the train. They're going to do a circle tour, and I'm going to walk the leftovers over to the Best Western because the Best Western has the best refrigerator. It has this really, not the tiny mini fridge, but like more of like a middle-sized one, so you can put all your leftovers in there. They have a microwave, and you can run over there, get everything put away, get back to Main Street, come back into Disneyland, and probably be meeting your family. They're done with their Grand Circle tour, and you can meet back up and resume your day. So that's a lot of fun. Just kind of like set the kids on there to take a little break after dinner, go run all this stuff back over to the room. But it is that close. It is that close that you can do something like that. My favorite thing to do when staying at the Hilton or those guys is not even to go into the Toy Story lot, but it's like a $5 Lyft or Uber ride straight over. And if you're staying, or not staying, but you have reservations at the Grand Californian Hotel for dining, you can take an Uber right up to the Grand Californian, go have lunch there, and then go right into the park through there, because Grand Californian has a entrance directly into the park. So that guy, is why he's like $600 to $900 a night, because it was like very, very primo spot for the Grand California Hotel. But for Good Neighbor Hotels, these guys, you get a shorter walk, you know? So I like them.
Nice. That was so much information. I think
In a
that,
nutshell.
yes, like those are only like 6 hotels, and obviously
Yeah,
there are other options. So like it kind of
so
really
many.
depends on your trip, but it's very hard for a Disney World person to like wrap their head around. First of all, I think the hardest part is that people don't understand like it's in the middle. Disneyland is just in the middle of a city. Like you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like you can see Disneyland. So I think that even just that is like so shocking that people don't realize that a lot of people would stay at a Good Neighbor hotel instead of staying like on at one of the 3 hotels.
Yeah. And it's true, like Disney World has so many hotels, and each hotel has so many rooms. So your price for those guys are reasonable. When we're talking about the Disneyland Resort, we've got the 3 hotels, but each hotel is very small. I mean, Disneyland Hotel was, the OG built back in the 50s. So it's, a lot of it is supply and demand. Everybody, even the locals, want to stay there because then you don't have to deal with parking and traffic. When I used to live in Los Angeles, it took us 45 minutes of battling traffic to get there. When you leave the park after a long day of walking 20,000 steps and all, you don't want to drive in traffic all that way. So having those hotels is great, but they end up being such a premium because of that supply and demand that it kind of makes it sometimes like you can't go, it's cost prohibited because you just can't afford the hotel. So these Good Neighbor hotels make it really nice to be able to still have the magic. And a lot of them do such a good job. A lot of them are a lot nicer sometimes than the Disney properties. So yeah,
That's
save some
good.
money.
And Princess and the Scoundrel podcast said that they just recently stayed at the Hilton that you were talking about and they
Yeah.
loved it. So,
I love the view from that room. Because they are a taller hotel, they can kind of see in come some of the other hotels are kind of just 2 3 stories, so you don't get that view of Disneyland, but the Hilton is really kind of got, I think, 13 stories to it, which is funny because I stay and they tell me I'm on the 14th floor, but they skip 13.
13.
So I'm like, I'm on the 13th floor. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, you can get those view rooms, and it is such a great view. You can get like all of Disney California Adventure in your view. And at night, we stayed one time when Oogie Boogie Bash was happening, and you could see it from the room. So the Hilton is beautiful. I love that. I love the Hilton. I'm
That's
glad. I'm glad Sarah stayed there. I'm glad she was in a good spot because you never know.
Now I'm assuming that you could see fireworks from most of these hotels, maybe not from your room, but like
Yeah.
outside.
So because of the berm, Disneyland was built with like this big berm around it, and you can kind of see it, but it is a little hidden. It's bizarre, it's a magic trick, and you have to be high up to be able to see those fireworks. So if you had a room, let's say at the Hojo, you would have to ask for one that faces the Matterhorn, and those are going to be, just a few of those guys, and maybe conditions would have to be real perfect. I know that the Hilton, you can definitely see them from there. And I know that from the rooftop bar, you can definitely see them from there because you're up high enough. So, you just have to get that height. I think from the Hyatt, it does have some rooms that could see fireworks. Don't quote me on that. But
I won't. I just want
I'm,
people to
I'm
understand it's
visualizing it.
not like the same. Like at Disney
It is
World,
not.
sometimes you can look
It is
around and you could be
not.
anywhere and you could just see fireworks.
Right. No, you could be in Disneyland and hear them and not see them. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
okay.
Yeah.
So
You could
that
go
is
around a corner and be like, wow, I can't believe I cannot see them, because yeah, it is a magic trick. It is a big optical illusion. They are just trying to keep Disneyland hidden from, the outside. So like the Matterhorn makes this little tippy top premiere. You can see it, I get all excited driving in and it's like, oh, there it is. But other than that, they did a good job of hiding it in the city. They really did. And when you're in Disneyland, boy, do you forget that you're just in the middle of Anaheim because
Yeah.
you're just buried in there and no view of the city at all.
Well, that's great. Oh, you have one more thing, go.
That reminded me, you can see the Hilton from Disney California Adventure. It is the only Good Neighbor hotel that if you look hard enough, you can kind of see it like behind the roller coaster. And they love to bring that up. Like you can see our hotel from the park because it's that close. But yeah,
Very cool. All right. Well, Sarah, this is so much great information for
thank you.
Disneyland. And again, Sarah's information is below. She can definitely help you with anything with Disneyland related. Sarah has another video with me that she did on the Oogie Boogie Bash and all Halloween things at Disneyland. And I have been looking on Old Navy, but I haven't found any shirts yet. So,
Yeah, they come
yeah.
up in little spurts.
Yes. So, all right. Well, Sarah,
Thank
thank you for
you.
coming on. We'll definitely have you
Thank
come on
you.
again, and we'll
Yeah.
talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.